Okay, in this last video, we're going to adjust layer properties using the layer properties panel. And I think what I'm going to do first is just kind of make a quick lower third. So I'll just drag this box in, and then we'll go and maybe grab our $ again, and we'll put some text in here. So let's get this and just type in hello world. Can't spell today. Okay. And, you know, we're basically going to just take this lower third and adjust the layer properties to it. And I want to play with maybe the texture here. Remember, over in texture, we can adjust the fade of the alpha channel. Alright, so now let's go back into the layer properties panel. So here it is, and you already saw that you can do moves and rotates and change the size and all that good stuff, but you didn't see how to animate it. So what we're going to do is start with a quick animation. We're just going to move it from the bottom up. Okay, so I'm going to move it on the X, or on the Y, I should say. So right click, say animate on. You could hit animate all here, which would create a keyframe for literally everything in here. But I like to keep it kind of neat, so I'm just going to animate the thing that I want. Just right click and animate Y. Alright, and at the beginning of the timeline, I'm just going to move it. So if I click on move here, or I click on move here, it's the same thing. And I'm just going to bring it down. And I can see that I moved my X a little bit. Just set that for 0. And then let's go to the middle of the timeline, like 15 frames in. And let's set this back for 0. Okay. So basically this is what we got. It comes up and we want it to go away. So we'll just basically leave it right there, and then at the very end we'll take it down. Now what that's going to require is for me to create another keyframe here, and so we're going to say add key, and I'm going to make it a hold. Okay, and then we'll get to this point, and I can even do this here, I believe. No, we need to add key here, and this will also be that one doesn't have to be a hold. And then we come to the end of the timeline, and we're going to move it back down again. I think it was 312 last time, so we'll do that. Alright, so there is a layer animation. So rather than having to move each of these objects individually, I'm doing the whole layer. And let's just turn animate off so that doesn't happen anymore here, and play around with some of these other things. So size and rotation, also the same thing. So if we rotate it, you can kind of do whatever you like there. Maybe it rotates down into the corner, kind of deal. So we can hit the reset button. Shear, that's not actually on the main panel here, and neither is the bow frequency stuff, but they can also be affected. So 0. Let's see here. Let's play with bow frequency for a second. So I'm going to click on it and then just work in the workspace, and you can see it kind of distorts the image there. And you can play around with all these different things. So what does that look like if we adjust that here? Oops, I'm just typing in values, and so we can watch that animation. Oh, silly me. Gotta right click and say animate on. And I'm going to do it for all these things. So at the beginning of the timeline, maybe we're here, and at the end of the timeline, maybe we're like here. So I kind of have has this little flag effect, and there's all kinds of stuff you can do there. Alright, so reset, pretty self-explanatory. Whenever you enable this bow frequency to stuff, it kind of turns this 3D mode on. Wireframe, so if we go into wireframe and we move it, move the object around, kind of just, that's what wireframe does, is it gives you an idea as to where the layer is. Scale 1 to 1 kind of brings it all back. Map mode is interesting. If we have, let's say we create another layer here, so we'll just create, and we get an image and sampler, and let's see here. Let's go into man-made, and let's pull up image of, we have a building here, kind of what I have in mind. Yes, rescale. I'm going to make this larger just by right clicking on it and going into the properties. And now we're going to take this image and move it backward. Okay, so here all that was to show what map mode does. Okay, if we say drag edit and we show all, now I can actually kind of corner pin this thing into, I should probably turn wireframe on too so I can see what I'm doing. You can see here that I'm actually mapping this particular image onto the side of this building. Okay, so do something like that. So that's what that does. And this is a horrible demonstration of why you might want to use this, but it does show the feature. So there you go. There we go. Maybe this is like congratulations St. Louis Cardinals on your big win. Oh yeah, and by the way, all objects are still movable on that layer. So there you go. Okay, and that is map mode. So there you go. I think that's pretty much all the buttons. Again, haven't talked about the stencil yet, but we can do a project with that in a little bit. So there you go.